Peace, love, and understanding. Wouldn't it be great if we had that? Can you imagine a world where we had that? So what I want to do right now is I want to take you back to when there was nothing. There was no time, there was no place, there was nothing, and yet there was everything. I want to take you back to the very first words in the Bible. In the beginning. When we just stop right there, that's all we're going to do with the Bible. That's all we're going to do today. In the beginning. What was in the beginning? There was the seen and the unseen. There was the known and the unknown. There was the power to create, and yet there was nothing created. And then all of a sudden, what happened? A word was spoke, however that was. A word was spoke, whether it was the Big Bang or something. Something happened, a stimuli happened, and what burst from it was this magnificent infinity that we look at and we call the cosmos, we call life, we call planet Earth, we call it our solar system, we call it our bodies with hundreds of trillions of cells. Can you even imagine? Hundreds of trillions of cells make up this body and your body. Well, not the same 100 trillion, but they make up the body. And these cells know how to regenerate, rejuvenate themselves. They know how to work together. There's an intelligence, right? See, so not only is there this infinite beingness, this infinite power and presence, there is an intelligence that's flowing everywhere that knows how to make everything work. So we've just covered the very essence of the dogma about agape. If there is a dogma, here's what it is very simply. We believe in an infinite power and presence. Call it anything you want, God. Call it spirit. Call it universal mind. Call it hey you. Because it doesn't care. Because think about it, if there is a power and a presence that is everywhere present, it is everything. It encompasses everything. Therefore, it cannot begin to judge, because to judge means there would be something outside of itself. And there can't be something outside of itself because it's infinite. You follow it? Because if you had two infinites, can't be. Mathematics has proven that. There's only one infinite. We call that God. Now, let's take that. So we have the infinite. What about the infinite? The infinite creates. What does it create out of? It creates out of itself. How does it create? It impresses upon itself an idea, and through the impressing of that idea, that bursts itself into experience. And what we've come to understand as we explore, as we go deeper than that, it's not just our conscious thoughts that create, but majority of our creation is from our unconscious mind that we don't even know that's happened, that our parents, that our society, that our schools, that watching television, the newspapers have all put into us, and that's the predominance of what we think, whether we know it or not, because here's what happens. Whatever you're thinking is your experience. So there's always a law of reflection. There's always a mirroring back to you exactly where your consciousness is in a moment in your emotions will tell you, is this emotionally alignment with the higher me, or is this emotionally not aligned with the me I choose to be? And if it's not aligned with the me that you see yourself as, it's going to be very painful. So I want to talk about this idea of spiritual practice. How do we get more in alignment so that we control our conscious thoughts? We're going to talk about the idea of complaining. And today you're going to get the opportunity, if you so choose, to make a commitment. And that commitment means you'd get one of these. If you get one of these, you're going to test to see if you can go 21 days and not complain. Let me say this, that the majority of people in the study, that over 10 million people have done this. Of the study that shows that the majority of people never complete because they haven't made a decision. And I want to inspire you to make a decision to change your life today. That's all my role is today, is to inspire you. But you've got to make the decision. I can't do it for you. So majority of people never complete it. The average person, it takes between 4 and 6 months to complete this. But here's the key. It's not a matter of completing it. It's a matter of simply changing the direction of your thought. And as you do that, you will find your life becomes happier. Your life becomes easier. It was fascinating. I started this 28 days ago. I completed day 21 yesterday. Here's what happens. You don't talk as much. My wife and I go out to dinner. A lot of silence. You find that before you speak, because you're conscious of the choice you're making, you're not going to speak. You pause. You make that pause and you say, is this about expressing love? Am I conveying facts or am I going into victimhood? You know, because there's benefits to complaining, aren't there? We get attention. We want attention we get it. If we complain, you know, it's the language of the world to complain. So if we complain, everyone will fit in. It's a common language. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're English, British, Buddhist, whatever. You start complaining, everyone wants to join in. It's a natural thing on this planet. So in that idea, it attracts attention. Now, what else does it do? It gives us excuses. It gives us excuses for not being the higher presence, the higher power that we are. We blame and we complain so we don't step into our greatness. Marianne Williams said it so clearly. She says, it's not our littleness, it's not our faults that we're afraid of. We're afraid of our greatness. We're afraid to step into something because we've got this crazy idea about fear. And fear is just false expectations appearing real. There's nothing true about fear. Can you hear that? It's what our mind creates. Everything in our lives is created in our minds. I was sitting in the hot tub. As many of the regulars here know, I sit in the hot tub every morning. And my best talks come in the hot tub. Because in the hot tub, God is bubbling around me. And the stars are lighting me up. And ideas come in. Our greatness is in our ability to accept ourselves as we are. When we complain, we are not accepting ourselves as we are. And when we're not accepting ourselves as we are, there's no way that we can love ourselves. Because if you can't accept yourself as you are, and you have to be a certain way, is that not conditional love? And if you don't meet your expectations, then what do? You go the opposite of love, and you might hate yourself. You might not like yourself, but there's something there. So in order to accept yourself as you are is the greatest expression of love. Well, if you accept yourself as you are, then you're going to be authentic. Here's a key thing. When you're authentically yourself, you accept yourself as you are, and you don't really give a flip about what anyone else thinks. I was coaching an individual the other day, long distance, thousands and thousands of miles away, and this individual was going to meet this beautiful woman. Never met her before. He met her once. And in that meeting, he was very in awe of this woman. And this man is a professional. He's a professional speaker. He travels around the world. He's brilliant, and he's well-to-do. Everything about him it's like an ideal man. He's in the prime of his life. Well, no, he's a baby. He's only 41, 42, something like that. And he said, I'm going with this woman, and this woman, she's too cool. She's like one of the elite 0.1% of the athletes in the world. This woman does this, and he talks about all these things that she did. He says, how am I going to measure up? What am I going to talk to her about? And I said, your date's going to fail. It's going to absolutely fail. And he says, what do you mean? I says, because you're worrying about what she thinks. I says, if you're worried about what she thinks, you're not going to be authentic. If you're not going to be authentic, how's she going to know what she likes? You're not giving her the real you to fall in love with. You're giving her a made-up you that's not you, and at the point when this relationship goes and she sees the real you, it's going to blow her out of the water, and all of a sudden there's no truth, there's no foundation to the relationship. So authenticity is about the idea of being yourself, and to be yourself, you can't complain. Because when you're complaining, you're not accepting yourself. You're following the logic here. So let's go to the idea of relationships. If we're in relationships and we complain, we're not building a foundation, right? We're blaming. People, when you complain, they really don't want to be around you unless they're stuck in their own pain body. And if someone's stuck in their pain body, is it fun to be with? No, you want to run. Get out of Dodge. Get out of here. That's something that you learn real easily as you start to become aware. As you do this process, people start to complain. You either change the subject or you move away. And people say, well, that's rude. And I says, no, to not move away is not self-loving. And self-love is the greatest thing, because if you don't self-love, then you can't love others. Can't love others, then what's the purpose of being? See, it's not about pleasing society. It's not about following the norms, because who set the norms? Did you set those norms? Are they your conscious choice? Or would you rather be in a position where everyone in this room could go out from this room today and totally be yourself? For the first time ever, you get to be yourself. How cool would that feel? I see some people in the back starting to take off their clothes. That's because they're nudists and they decide to be themselves. See, and notice how I got a response? Everyone looked. Because who's taking their clothes off? The guys were smiling, the women were going, oh no. But anyway, my sons say all the time, the only person that laughs, Dad, is you when you tell a joke. I said, I'm amusing myself because I love myself. Isn't that when we tell a joke or we make something, isn't it about amusing ourselves? And what do people pick up when we amuse ourselves? They pick up on the energy and they vibrate with that energy, and that's why they laugh. So if you can't laugh at yourself, no one's going to laugh with you. You see, that's the opposite of complaining. That's putting out a different vibration. Go to health. When we complain about health, do we heal as fast? Science says no. If we complain about our health, what do we attract up? More of what we're unhealthy about. I can go on with stories about that in my own family and stuff, but I don't think I need to go into examples. I mean, it's self-evident. We believe what you focus on demonstrates in your life. So the key thing is, how do we change that? Authenticity is the acceptance of ourselves as we are in this moment, knowing that in this moment we have done everything perfect to be who we are. You see, no matter what you've done in your past, no matter what you've done, it has brought you to this point of time that's perfect. Because in this moment, right here, right now, as you think about yourself, you're perfect. If you're not going back to the past and comparing what's happened, and you're not looking forward to the future, in this moment, right here, right now, no judgment, because you can't judge and be in the moment, you're perfect. All your worries have moved away. The second you complain about what you don't have and didn't have in the past, or what you might not have in the future, guess where you go? Down that slippery slope into yuck. I could have said poop, and I could take it deeper, but I won't. But you see, we're the controllers of that. We get to choose. It's like the idea when you lose a job, and you want to bitch and moan about the job and what they did to you. I lost my job in 2004. I was fired from my job as a vice president of marketing. Do I believe it was justified? No. Do they believe it was justified? Yes. Does it matter? No. Because when I looked at it and I had to back away from it, what did it do? It allowed me to go get my master's degree in consciousness studies. It allowed me to step into what I wanted to do. It allowed me to become a minister. It allowed me to found a spiritual center. You see, when you can step back from things that have happened into your life, you will find that they always will bring more good, because there's an impulsion within God, within the universe, to always want more. So if we stop and say there's no more, and we're stuck in the idea of what's happened to us, and we're not allowing the more, we're going to block. We're going to mentally, emotionally, physically constipate ourselves. And the more we constipate ourselves, we're going to have to wait for this great big spiritual enema to come down and clear us. Or we cannot go that far and not have the big spiritual enema. You know, it's the enema in the sky, you know. Oh, I love that. Where'd that come from? That certainly isn't on the notes over on this side. Yes, Stephen, I'm amusing myself again today. What I've come to understand is where we get into love is the idea when we can get into neutral. This is one of the techniques that I use when I'm coaching or I'm counseling with people all the time. And people will come to me and they will express themselves that they've got all of this pain about a certain issue. And the technique that you use, and it's not my technique, I borrowed this technique and it's been around for thousands of years, but what you do is you write down everything. You can say it to someone, you write down everything that bothers you about it. You write down every nasty bit of it. And you get into the pain body as deep as you can so that you know, this is where I am at. This is why I feel this way. This is why the universe sucks. This is why that person sucks. This is why my life sucks. And you get there. And then you wait a little while, you take another piece of paper, and now you've got to write an equal number of things of the good that came out of that event or from that person. And you can't stop until you've got balance. And the second you've got balance, there's no longer an emotional tie. There'll be no emotional charge at all with it. When there's no emotional charge, you can think of the event and it will not press your button. You can think of the event and that person and you will be neutral. You are in a state of love. Do you hear that? Because what's love? Unconditional love from the aspect of the divine. Think about how the divine lives, the allness of God. It embraces everything and has no charge about it. So you're the microcosm of the macrocosm. And if you're the microcosm and you can embrace everything in your life that's high, and you can embrace everything that's low, and you come together and see that it's all perfect in the unfoldment of who you are, in the creation of that next dream, now you're living in a state of telos, which means you are living in a state of perfect love. But if anyone or any event presses your trigger, there's no possible way that you're going to love, and what are you going to do? Complain and blame. And when you complain and blame, there's no way you can ever experience God. There's no way you can ever experience peace. There's no way you can ever experience love. There's no way that you can ever experience joy. I don't care. People will tell you all the time, complaining makes me feel good. BS. Complaining is an excuse. Complaining is procrastinating from taking action to feel better. Did you hear that? That's good. That's real good. Complaining is procrastination from taking an action to feel better. Because we don't want to claim our good. We're afraid of that good. Why would you be afraid of good? Here's the interesting thing that we don't understand. As infinite, we can always be more. We can always be more. So if you have the greatest relationship in the world, and people say, well, Lee, you've got a great relationship. Your wife is this. And I said, I know, and I want more. Why? Because there's no limit. Do you see, this is the thing, that we put a cap on things. Women say, we've got a glass ceiling. No, humanity's got a glass ceiling, and that glass ceiling is because of how we believe. There is no high. If you want to have... I'm not going to say that. If you want to have more joy, and you think you've experienced the greatest joy in the world, think a step beyond. There's more. If you think you've had the most intimate relationship with someone, today stop. Don't complain and look into someone's eyes and speak and see the perfection of God that they are. Because when you see the perfection of God that they are, they're mirroring back to you that you're the perfection of God looking at them. That, my friends, is true love. That, my friends, can happen with every human being we meet, because that is living authentically as the microcosm of all. And in that, there is no complaining. Complaining is something that we've adopted that has held us back. We've accepted it's society's norm. It has held us back. It is not who we are. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button, and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.